I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff, and welcome back.
Thank you. It is a thrill and an honor to be back here. It's been a kooky week.
It has. But before you get into that, I want to tell you, I really appreciate what you do every week because it's a lot of work. Getting the show together, getting all the guests. So again, my hat's off to you for doing it every week. But Kathy and I did have fun doing it.
Y'all were great. I was listening in,
thanks.
I was like trying to text and chime in and everything.
I was concentrating.
I was trying to give you, Kathy picked it up.
I know,
it was great.
I know she
Yeah. But I was trying to give you the little clues, about okay, here's some Harry Potter stuff.
I know. Yeah. I was like, I do it like once a year. And this time I think it'd been 2 years since I hosted.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, so, I was like, but anyway.
You were great. It was so great. And always a pleasure to to be replaced by Sweetie.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely to have her there.
Yeah. She's fun.
She's great. Y'all had a good time, yeah?
Yeah, we did. We really enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah. Wonderful. No, thank you. Thank you for keeping the ship
You're right.
going.
And Devin helped too.
Yeah, and of course, because Devin is awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was perfect.
I'm just here. You're just here.
Yeah, well, you're good. We need to have you
here. You're a good
here,
egg, is what I say. You are a good egg. There we are. And we got a good egg of a show.
We sure do.
It's a star-studded, and I think I'm going to put the emphasis on stud. What's going on here? The New York Times bestselling author and adored comedian Randy Rainbow has a few things on his mind that he wants to talk about in his newest essay collection, Low Hanging Fruit. And he is going to be at the Harris Theater for Music and Dance on October 16th to spill the tea. And he's going to be on this show today. What?
Yes, I love him.
We had him on 7 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I know. I think it's because of us that he launched to superstardom.
I think that did
It's
set him on his way.
Us. It is. I expect a thank you card.
Well, don't hold your breath.
Or at least a song.
Well, okay,
maybe a song. Maybe a song. And speaking of songs, star of stage and screen, Claiborne Elder returns to Chicago for the Big Gay Cabaret at Venus Cabaret Theater, October 18th through the 20th. And we're going to chat with him at the top of the next hour. He's very fancy. Have you seen the Gilded Age?
No.
On the well, I guess it's not Max. I refuse. Why is
HBO.
It? Why did they do
change
that?
It? It
Why
had
did they
such
do that?
the name was ingrained in people's brains. It's one of the very first cable, movie
it was
channels.
First, yeah.
It was of HBO. Home Box
Office.
Yeah.
There we are. He's on the Gilded Age.
I got to check it out.
John Adams, he's very handsome and very nice.
Oh, good.
He's just ding
We
dong.
have a couple of handsome people.
We've got the handsome folks going on here. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. That number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook where we are coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio. And while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share and all that good stuff. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signal, on all social medias, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads.
Anything you can think of, we're there.
Threads, probably. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Probably not that other one.
No, not that. No, not those. Don't think about this.
How you doing, Ellen Miller?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You and I both had funerals in out of town that we had to travel to.
Yeah.
You might recall, listeners might recall that in July, Kathy and I went to Cincinnati to celebrate my Aunt Mary's 100th birthday. And of course, the moral of the story is celebrate those times when you can because she passed away. And
so sorry.
but she lived 100 years and she was ready to go. She had come to terms with moving on to the next life. So, but it's still sad. And my cousin Bill, I'm very close with Bill, and his sister passed away. His dad died when he was a boy. And so, I have Kathy, and a lot of people have partners. And when you think about someone that's in your life that loses both parents and doesn't have any siblings left, and doesn't have a partner, he has a lot of friends. You just, you feel in your heart because he's like a brother to me. But our family, our big fat Greek family, we make good time. We were at Bill's house both nights, the night before the funeral and the night of the funeral, and we have fun. I mean, that's who we are. We have fun. There's a lot of alcohol, et cetera, that's flowing.
Right, of course.
A lot of food, a lot of stories, a lot of laughing, and we relish those times. And, the thing that struck both Kathy and me as we were driving back from Cincinnati on Thursday was I've got a couple of, I've got 100, she's going to be 102. My Aunt Stella lives in
Wow.
Dayton, and my Uncle George is 90, lives in Hamilton. You know, before too long, we won't have any real reasons to go back to. And I was born there. My dad and mom moved to Chicago area when I was 7, and we went back for fun things. And then as
Right.
we aged, and now I'm like, you know, I've never lived my life without having to go to Ohio for good things and not so, you know.
Right.
And I thought, wow, what's going to happen after they're gone? We may never go back. I mean,
Well, you need to go get some Skyline chili. Oh, why do you that?
even though the Greeks invented it,
I love Skyline
those-
chili.
my brother
Look,
John and his partner, they had to stop in Indianapolis, and you know, I'm like, in all this Friday traffic, you're going to stop, and I go, how do you get it? They go, on the wieners. I go, oh God, those hot dogs are disgusting that they put them. They're like a rolled up sawdust, moist sawdust.
Wow. Okay, don't sugarcoat it.
I
How do you
don't
really
like
feel
it.
about it?
I
No,
don't
but here's
like
the
it.
thing. Because my Schwiegernichte, that's German for niece-in-law.
Yeah.
My nephew's wife, she is from, is it is Cincinnati the...
Yeah, Clayton.
No, I'm just trying to
that's-
figure.
No, that's
where's
Cleves.
is Cleveland the land of Skyline
No,
chili
it's
or Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
She's from Cincinnati,
Yeah.
and you can buy Skyline chili in a can.
Meat in a
But
can, not
then
my
you
thing.
make it into a dip. She made this dip that is like hook into my vein.
Okay. I should have brought some back for you had I known.
Well, that's okay.
I'm sure I'll be going again
But
soon, unfortunately.
But there's a reason. Oh well. Yeah.
But I do like it on the spaghetti. It's not as bad. I eat it on the wieners, but I'm always like, ooh.
well, then don't put it on the wieners.
But anyway, the other weird thing that struck us is Kathy pointed out that we've been together. We had one of our anniversaries. Our 29th anniversary of meeting together and falling in love was October 3rd, which was the day we buried my aunt on Thursday. She realized, she says, you know, you were their age when we started, you know, when we got together. All my aunts and uncles were vibrant. They were my age.
Oh, I was like, when she said you were their
I
age,
mean,
I'm like, wait
they
a
were
second.
in
Are
their-
you Benjamin
they were in
buttoning
their
it? Are you
60s.
aging backwards
They were in
going
their
on here?
60s and 70s.
Okay. Yeah.
And 70s, but still, you know, mid 60s to mid 70s. And I'm like, oh, that
Yeah,
seemed like
it's
just
weird.
That seemed like just yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
there
know?
is no such thing as time. I'm
Oh,
telling
I
you,
know.
after like time, there every day is Blur's Day. Ever since like 2020, when we all just kind of like everything days kind of squished together. Time is strange.
Time is. And you and I were talking beforehand that, you know, and you came from a funeral as well, that when you are at these funerals of people that you're your parents' age, it brings it all rushing back. And I know you had a similar experience.
Yeah. We had to do a quick down and back to Evansville, Indiana. You know, one of the big things that we've talked about on the show and that I definitely experienced is that whole notion of the queer family. About, you know, like you were talking about with your cousin Bill. You know, we had a lot of queer folks. You have your family, and then you have your family of choice kind of thing. And we've got a group that's, you know, we are a very tight-knit family. We spend holidays together, we mourn together, we do everything. And so it was our friend's mom passed away after just a really awful long illness.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was. So we're like, okay, we gotta go. So we drove the 6 hours down to Evansville on what was Friday. We got to spend a couple hours with our friend and, you know, and her fiance and, you know, our other friends. We were just kind of there celebrating, you know, in her mom's house and just kind of being there and just listening and doing all that. And then yesterday afternoon was the visitation. We had to leave before the funeral started because I feel weird because I'm getting old and I feel weird about driving at night
Well,
on
I don't
highways.
blame you. It's especially 65, which we both were on yesterday.
Well, yeah. Well, but what was really weird is when they took us down, we went down like 41 or something like that. And I was like, when we were driving down, like I didn't think I would ever say this. Indiana was really pretty.
Yeah, this time of
was
year,
like-
it
was
is
really pretty as we
especially
were-
down south as you're further south.
Well, actually, it kind of got weirder as we go down south. But like we were driving down, it was basically like this almost like a 2-lane highway. It wasn't a really busy highway, but it was still a highway, and it was like, oh, this is really pretty. And then last night they took us up through Indianapolis, so
Yeah,
so it was
so
just like
you-
it was just a really it was a fast visit, but it was one of those moments where it's like we need to be there for our family.
Well, speaking from personal experience, Kathy's dad passed away suddenly in 2011, and we had one of the funerals was in Greencastle, Indiana. And
where's that?
it's by Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
It's where DePauw University is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And, we went down there and, we told our friends, please don't feel obligated to come because, it's like a 3-4 hour drive. And you know what? A handful of really great friends came because she didn't have siblings that were there. She didn't have another, her parents were divorced. So it was just her really and me. And, when my brother walked in with those 2 little nephews that were little at the time, running up to us, when our friend Steve and Liz came, our friend Tracy came, my whole family, my mom included, they got in the car.
Wow.
Yeah, I could cry thinking about it. But, it's just, people don't understand, but you think, oh, maybe they don't. Do they really want me there?
No, they do.
You know what? They do.
Yeah.
They want you there. The more people that can help support, and especially a tragic or sad, personal loss, it's always going to be great helpful to the person that's mourning. So good for you that you went and supported your friend Kelly.
Yeah, we had to go to support her, and it was like, it was also just, there's something really cool also about seeing like this is where you grew up. There's like not necessarily the house, but like this was the community, and it's like, oh, okay.
You always learn more about the deceased at their funeral than you knew about them their whole life.
Yeah,
And I always am like, darn, I wish I would have known that fact or that they did that because I would have talked to them about that. But it never fails. But that's.
Well, it was more like because I never met her mom.
Right.
I just didn't know, but just more about like, oh, here's another piece of the puzzle that is my friend
Right,
Kelly.
exactly.
Oh, okay, this makes total sense. Seeing like this area, it's also really weird going downstate, I guess, in any state, here, but like it was just like, oh, there's a lot of Trump things happening here, and then more fortunately, there's a university there, so there were some more progressive folks.
Yeah.
But it was a bunch of queerdos coming in, like in the queer invasion of Evansville, and it was very heartwarming to see how Kelly and her fiance were embraced by her, by the family and by the community, and just like, oh, this is lovely. And we went with our married friends, married lesbians over here, and then there's me and Jerry, and it was I'm pooped. I'm a little tired. Sorry if I'm a little vague today.
I know what you
But
mean.
because we literally drove down and had to turn around and drove back. We were there not even 24 hours. So it was, but I'm really glad that we went. It was just kind of necessary just to.
You knew you were needed there, and you answered the call. So that's what the best you can ask for. Just a quick text just came in that I want to share from our friend Michael Damsky. Who put us on the
all
air.
right. Hey
years
there.
ago.
Hey there.
I'm canvassing in Michigan, and the trainer group leader is Marge Halprin.
All right,
all
there
full
we go.
circle.
Full circle.
We'll get to all that. About
circle.
canvassing and helping out.
Yeah. But it's very interesting too because when my mom passed away, well, my mom was an interesting case because she had Alzheimer's, and we had moved her out of her home in St. Louis, which was my childhood home. Like that's basically where I grew up. Like we had another place, but briefly. But when I became, kind of just aware of the world, because we moved there when I was in kindergarten, and we had to move her out of her home to a memory care unit that was closer to my sister in Iowa. So the whole notion of going back to St. Louis, I'm like,
You may never go back either.
Yeah, we went for her funeral, for her memorial that we were able to do, and she's interred at our childhood church there. But it's like it's
I know it's interesting. Yeah, it's life marching on.
Yeah, there we are. But there's always Ted Drews and toasted ravioli in St. Louis. I will always find the food.
I did
that-
love
to
toasted
make it go.
ravioli. I had that. I loved it. I do love the toasted
That is
ravioli.
a big old.
That is good.
That's a big old St. Louis thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hug your loved ones.
Yeah,
Support your
take
loved
nothing
ones.
for granted. It's great to be alive.
It is. It is wonderful to be alive, and it's also even more wonderful just to kind of, to remind folks that are important to you, that they are indeed important to you. So,
Amen to that.
So there we go. We should probably take a break. But before we do that, this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, if you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. After 30 long and excruciating months, Fed Chairman Powell lowered interest rates a half a point. You heard me. Fed Chairman Powell finally cuts rates a half a point, which means rates on credit cards, car, and home equity loans are lower. Most importantly, mortgage rates have dropped to their lowest levels since last February. 60% of Team Hochberg's competitors are back in the mall, spinning pretzels and folding underpants. Team Hochberg weathered the storm and is ready to help you, your friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors reduce your interest rate and monthly payments. If your interest rate is above 6.5%, call Team Hochberg now. Not when you get home, not tomorrow, not next week. Call now for a complimentary mortgage review, 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break and fold some underpants, and when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right after this.
I'm Amanda Civitello with Creating Iris. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along on
Rolling along.
singing a song.
It's a beautiful
at
day.
the bottom of the beautiful briny, shimmery, shiny, beautiful briny sea. Bed knobs and broomsticks? No? Yes?
Huh?
No?
What is it?
Bed knobs and broomsticks?
Oh, I remember that. It was
Yes.
from Disney.
Yeah, Angela Lansbury.
Oh, yes. God, what a memory.
Yes.
Long time ago.
It was one of the very first of live action and animation together.
Oh, yeah.
Very innovative.
I do remember it now.
Yes,
What do you
yes. And
think?
they go under the water. They sing the song
I don't
under
remember
the
the
briny.
details, but
Oh, Ellen.
I try. Old age has set in.
There we go.
You know, we're talking about some sad things, but we had a happy thing yesterday. Kathy and I went to the second annual women's only golf invitational to support breast cancer.
Okay.
And it was put together by the Flackers. They're a group of we've had Gail Browder on the show before. I had her on the broadcast a couple of times for the Pride Parade, and they put on a golf outing that was it was fun. It was hysterical.
But how?
It was over at Maravitz by the lake.
Okay, sure. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, it's a golf course in the city
Uh-huh.
at the Irving Park Recreation exit, and it was a blast. And someone, I guess, commented, and we were on the patio of this little snack shop or restaurant that they have afterwards, and it was a lot of fun.
Were there
our friend
outfits?
Becky was there from About Face.
Becky Winker. Yeah.
Becky was part of the group, and we had a nice conversation. But someone said, would you think about having men join this? And we're like, no, men have everything. And she said, men have the butler, golf, that's men only. There's
the
still
thing.
some men only golf
Oh, really?
courses.
What?
Yes. Oh, yes. But it was so fun. It was a big old lesbian golf outing, and we had
Isn't
a
every
blast.
golf outing a big old lesbian golf outing? I mean, come on, it's like softball
there
too.
were some women there that were not were not LGBTQ, but they're obviously
but
supporters.
staunch allies
But
and
staunch-
wanted to raise some money for breast cancer.
Yes, and so it was. What a day! Oh my God. Beautiful breeze off the lake, clear skies, 80-some degrees.
Thank you, global warming.
Thank you. I mean, for that, it was beautiful. So thank you, Gail Browder, and everybody that was involved. It's always an effort to put together golf outings. I mean, you do different things.
What was there a thing that, like anything in particular that made it so super duper fun, or just the fact that it was like
just all the people
all like
were,
a very sapphic
were fun.
sort of golf thing.
It was that they had drink tickets. They had one. They called it Thirsty 3. I guess they do it. They have a golf league that plays at the Chicago Park District at the Robert Black golf course throughout the summer, and they have a Thirsty 3. They call it, I think. And on the third hole, there was like all kinds of booze.
Oh gosh!
If you wanted, and there was also a sweet and salty snack pack, which I grabbed. That.
Come on, sweet and salty.
But and then there was on the eighth hole, she has like a surprise fun thing, and she had little kids drivers, and you had to hit the ball
with a kid.
With a kid's
That's
driver.
Fun. Oh, that's fun.
And we all. 3 of the 4 of us did not do well. Kathy Voltmer, she came through for us and had a pretty good shot. But it's like I don't know how do you get so low that you can?
Right.
So anyway, it was just a shout out. They're going to do it again next year. It's a great.
You should have
event.
gotten down like on your knees, like Dorf on golf.
I should have swung from my knees.
Do you remember that unfortunate Tim Conway character?
Oh
Dorf?
yes, I do.
Dorf on golf.
He didn't have legs.
No, he was deadly. He was just tiny.
I thought he tucked him away or something.
Well, he was on his knees.
Yeah,
that was the humor.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Dorf.
that would never go over today.
No.
But in its time, we did have a couple
Tim
of good
Conway.
laughs.
Oh, Tim Conway.
Tim
Conway. Here's the thing about Tim Conway. I don't understand how he was so freaking funny on the Carol Burnett show, and then later in life, I
didn't follow him later in life. What happened?
Well, that's when like Dorf started happening. You know, like all these weird character things that he was doing, and I'm like,
he always seemed a little, maybe a little off in the head a tiny bit. That was part
all
of
comedians are.
Yeah, most.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
I didn't want to say
Hi.
it, but I'm glad you did.
I totally know that I'm off. Yeah. But he was on another. I mean, just the way he got into those characters and those looks on his face. It takes a special someone to do that. 100%. So you're out golfing,
Yeah.
and then so yesterday morning we had got an Airbnb when we were in Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the gays and the lesbians sharing a little house. I got up early. I was the first one to get up, and I'm like, before we'd gone to bed, like, look, there's like a whole coffee section, blah blah blah. But there wasn't a coffee, so I'm like, all right, I'll go get some coffee.
Yeah.
Get like coffee and fruit. Like have a little breakfast things. Look for gluten-free things because one of my friends is one of those gluten-free people that just makes my eyeballs roll back in my head.
Go on. I'm the same way.
I know. But it's like, all right, cool. I respect that.
Whatever.
And as I'm walking in, there was like this dad and this kid in a Boy Scouts uniform, and they're selling popcorn or whatever. And like all these people were leaving. They're like, no. And I was like, all right.
You can't pass the little boy
I
and his
come in,
dad.
and there's like this kid was like, hey, do you want some popcorn? And I'm like, well, what kind of popcorn do you have? And he went through it's the sweet and salty. I'm like, sure, I'll get some popcorn. And they're like, oh, well, do you want cash or credit? I'm like, okay, well, how much is it? And they're like, $20.
$20.
And I'm like, wait, what?
For
And
popcorn?
I was like,
Garrett's doesn't charge that much.
I know. So I'm like, here you go. Here's $20. I'm like, there you go. This better be like some golden popcorn.
And how was it?
I haven't opened it yet. I'm saving it for a special occasion. It's going to be like New Year's Eve.
Isn't like popcorn in a movie theater less than $20?
Even the movie theaters that really jack up the price.
Yeah. But I was like, okay. And then here I'm trying to talk. I'm like, so how long have you been a scout? And he was like, I don't know. His dad was like, he just started. I'm like, oh. Okay, well, there we are. I hope I supported the Boy Scouts of Evansville, Indiana.
Yes, you did, Scott.
There we are. And but the week before, we were in Nashville. Jerry and I went to Nashville to go visit some friends as well. Fun time. Although we got some Hurricane Helene, but that was the same weekend that was happening.
Yes.
And
bad timing.
It was unfortunate timing. Fortunately, though, Nashville, because it looked like, I mean, people were preparing for what's going on. I mean, just for a lot of rain and stuff. But I had a very small list because I'd never been to Nashville. I'm not a big country music person, and I know you are a fan of going to the Broadway.
And I'm not a country music fan at all, but there's a lot of different music there.
Yeah. Well, and I also have like strange PTSD of being around that many straight people and that many drunk people. I'm like, I just can't. It's like I kind of.
There's some other little neighborhoods, but next time.
Well, it was rainy and everything, but my short list was like, I want to go to the Parthenon.
Oh yeah.
And because if you don't know, in Nashville there is a replica of the Parthenon. There from like a World's Fair in like 1860.
I don't know the history, but I've
But
seen.
so-
I've
but-
stayed across from it a couple of times in a hotel.
Yeah, like go to the Parthenon, and I needed to have a Nashville hot chicken
Yes,
while I was in
yes,
Nashville.
Yes.
Got my Hattie B's.
Oh, you had Hattie B's.
I had Hattie B's. I know Prince's is like the other one that people
I
are
like. Well, it's actually barbecue, so it's different. It's,
No,
it's,
yeah,
it's
no.
Jack's. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Needed a Nashville hot.
Nashville
sandwich.
hot, yeah.
And I didn't. I just did the regular hot. I didn't go to What the Cluck.
Right.
Because
That's
I didn't
really
want
hot.
to cry.
Yeah, regular hot's enough for me.
Regular
too.
hot was
Yeah.
good. It was great. But so I got to see the Parthenon, which is really cool.
It is.
I don't know why I think this, but like whenever I think about you're Greek.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of ancient Greece, you think of the Parthenon there and all these columns and stuff. But I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, there were walls. I'm always, for some reason in my head, when I think of like Greek culture, you
just think of columns
Just
and
think of
nothing
columns,
else.
and there's it's a big open air kind of experience. I'm like, wait, no. There were actually walls. People went inside
Yeah.
as opposed to just having this
Yes.
big. I don't know. I guess I'm the only person here that thinks that. Yes. Okay, that is
Well, when you see it, you just see the columns. That's
Right.
what sticks out.
right.
so,
But I just never even think like, oh yeah, there used to be walls around it.
So you did a tour of it?
Yeah, there's a little museum and
I
everything
didn't
that's
know.
in
I'll
there.
have to check it out
Yeah,
when we
you
go
can
next time.
go inside. They did a giant recreation of Athena. There's a huge statue of Athena that's in there, and Athena is creepy as all get out. She's
Poor
got these
Athena.
crazy her eyeballs. I'm like,
Ooh,
ooh,
they made her
she's
crazy.
holding Nike in her hand, and Nike is she's 6'4". I mean, this thing is huge. They're very huge. So it was like just kind of walking around, and you can see how tall you are compared to the statue that she's holding. I mean, it's really kind of cool. I'm a nerd.
No,
when
I
it comes to
love
I do like Greek history and
Got
Greek
it.
mythology. All
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah, so
Teach me a few things.
there we go. So we got to do that, but we also kind of were sad when did you all talk about Maggie Smith passing?
I don't remember if we did or
Didn't.
not. I think we
Well,
mentioned her maybe, but yeah, it
Maggie
was very
Smith is
sad.
like
she's a legend. And,
We shared a birthday.
oh,
I know.
December
And
28th.
yep. Yeah, good. I know yours is April something.
Yeah, see?
See, it's like April
Girls
maybe
know
6th.
birth.
April 6th.
Close. Divide by 2.
April 3rd. There we
There
are.
you go.
There we
I
are.
just gave a little
See?
hint there.
There we are.
You're close enough.
I know. Well, because there's so many dates to
I
remember with you.
know
Like,
there are.
here's the date where we first looked at each other, and we're gonna go to Paris because of this. And then here's the date where I picked up a piece of gum
Yes.
off the ground
that
and I
was a
threw it
special
away,
day,
and
yes.
it turned. Like I said,
Just
one of the,
3 anniversaries, but yes, I
but,
understand.
But all of your date, but I love that's my thing that I love most about you. About the two of you, you just celebrate everything.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
we try.
Yeah. So where was I going
you
with
share,
that?
Maggie and you share a birthday. Maggie Smith. and-
Maggie Smith, yeah. So we ended up we had to watch Maggie Smith movies, and since it was raining, and it's kind of gross. We cooked, and it was so funny to me though. It was 68 degrees, and they're like, okay, now that it's cold, I'm like, wait, what? It's and
not used
they were
to
just so
that.
cold. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 68. And we need to make. So we made I made chicken and dumplings, and we watched
Comfort food.
Yeah. We watched Evil Under the Sun with Maggie Smith to celebrate
I always
her.
think of the prime of Miss Jean Brody. That's when she came
Yes.
into my consciousness, and that was, I think, 1969.
yeah. Didn't she win? She won an Academy
won,
Award for
yes,
that.
I believe she won for that.
and for California Suite.
California Suite, Neil Simon play.
Anyway, so it was a lovely trip there. It was a soggy trip. It's really, really beautiful around there. But what's also was going on is the devastation of the hurricane is just staggering. It's
We
biblical.
did talk about that, yeah.
It
It's
is it is biblical. We have friends who actually are friends that we were staying with. They are building a home outside of Asheville, in North Carolina. Asheville, holy smokes, that city. It's gone. There are towns that are completely
They were
gone
not prepared
away.
for that. They were not prepared at all.
Well, they had just gotten a lot of rain too, so all of the creeks and rivers and lakes were already full. And then this happened. It was just Swannanoa, where my friends got married. is basically gone. There are like Chimney Rock gone. There was one town that actually slid into another town. I mean, it is really, really bad out there. And now we've got ding-dongs out there who are just spreading around misinformation and lies.
It is making me crazy, Scott, the misinformation. And I just know that these people that follow him are not looking elsewhere to confirm any of the misinformation to see if it's really true. And this is my biggest fear right now because attack. You know, this is him. This is his playbook. And the fact that he is misconstruing all of these facts to make it sound, you know, like the administration is doing nothing, that they're giving more money.
It's not misconstruing facts. He's just lying.
He's lying.
He's just lying.
He's lying. You're right.
Saying that Governor Kemp was trying to get in touch with Biden and with President Biden, and then Kemp had to come out to be like, "No, I spoke to him yesterday, and we're already getting all this stuff." The governor of Tennessee, same thing, coming out against this. They're saying that that FEMA is only going for blue counties.
In fact, that's what he did as president.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to do. Yes. You know, I mean, it's crazy, and you know, even Congress, people were being buttheads about that whole thing. Like as Helene approached the last week, Congress passed an additional $20 billion in FEMA disaster relief funding. The only lawmakers to vote against it were Republicans. You know, also. Biden did not divert FEMA money to migrants.
No.
But
he did apparently when there was a disaster to put people in detention camps. He took FEMA money and did that.
Yeah.
Remember when he talks about what other people are doing, he is simply projecting what he actually does or thinks himself.
Yeah.
But I am so ashamed of this country that this race is this close. I'm ashamed. Mm-hmm. I'm ashamed at the ignorance and the belief in disinformation. I can't even believe it's close. Could there be a worse candidate in our history?
Does it surprise you that people about like uninformed voters, or you know, does that really surprise you?
Well,
I mean, it does a little bit for me.
I guess I want to believe that people want to seek the truth, but they hear from him. They go to their Fox News or their Truth Social or their Newsmax, and that's all they need. That's all they need. And then you hear that Russia is also is getting disinformation out. They know the immigration issue is huge, and they are using that between the eating of pets, the diverting money. They are queuing into that big time. I don't understand why people can't look at a simple fact that he killed a bipartisan immigration bill that was set to go simply so he could campaign on it. I'm hoping that more Americans than less Americans will realize this when they go to vote, that he is just trying to manipulate them and lie to them. If they want more of that, that's what makes me sad for the next 4 years.
Yeah. But the lies are dangerous,
They're
especially
totally
like
dangerous.
right now. And the thing is really just kind of like, what's going to happen with the election in these states? You know, I mean,
like Georgia.
Like North Carolina,
the states that are
they were the ones that are like they're also happened. They were the hardest hit by this natural disaster that Republicans didn't want to give the funding to FEMA to help out. And they're also very important swing states. So right now they are like kind of a swing state. But so how are the people of Asheville, North Carolina, going to be able to vote?
How are they going to get out and vote? And they're an important. They're we talked about last week. They're a blue bubble They are a very blue bubble and and you don't have to literally. You just step outside the city limits and it's different and it's red. You know, it's just it's a very interesting dilemma that we are in, and keeping me up at night. I'm just my only hope is that these polls that we keep hearing about, that it's not as close as they say it is, and that there's people that are being undersurveyed, underpolled, they're not reaching, and that our best hope is that it's a landslide.
Fingers crossed.
Everybody's got to vote, and the registration deadlines are upon us as well. As early voting starts. So please, we talked about it last week. If you have an 18-year-old in your house or a 19-year-old that's voting for the first time, or 20-year-old, please make sure that they have gotten out and registered to vote. We need them.
Mm-hmm. Amen. We do. Hey, we've got a call on the. Why don't we go check in with our buddy Roosevelt? Hey, Roosevelt. Welcome on to Out Chicago.
Guys, thank you for taking my call. Have a happy Sunday.
Thank you. Same to you.
And I wanted to see what you guys thought of Jack Smith's 150-page. And the reason why I called is because they constantly, specifically the crybaby, Orange Crybaby, keeps on saying that everything is political, that the Democrats are weaponizing the Attorney General's Department of Justice, when in fact, just as recent as a week ago, a Democratic mayor in the state of, in the city of New York, and not to mention our senator that got bars of gold, also Democrat. So it's a perfect example of what the opposite is in the hypocrisy on the right, saying that everything is weaponized and that Biden is such a wizard, but at the same time, he's also a sleepy Joe. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what day it is.
Oh, yeah. They want to have their cake and eat it, too. Apparently, President Joe Biden is simultaneously a criminal mastermind and on a mental decline. Like, he can't do, like, he's pooping his pants. That's how old and feeble he is. But at the same time, he is like, I am an extreme puppet master. The thing about the Jack Smith stuff, here, when it was released, I'm like, oh, this is exciting, and here are these things. To me, for me, and I think for probably a lot of people who are on the left, this was no real new information. It was just like we knew that this, like, Durdoy, yes, absolutely. He got these people to go January 6th. It's like, we get it. Yeah. The thing that I just don't know if it's actually going to affect the people who are on the right. Even though they're said, like, here he is again. Like, here's all of the proof that is happening that shows him, and they're like, no, but like that was all staged. I mean, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that Democrats control the weather.
I know.
That's how, like, it's not hard to do. You can do it. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, how does she get How does she get elected? She's the dumbest person on the planet next to Lauren Boebert. I mean, let's talk
other
about
dumb people relate to her.
But I mean, but they're talking about going, like, the gazpacho is going to come and get you.
Yeah, the gazpacho.
I would love gazpacho to come after me.
Come get me, gazpacho.
Come get me,
I'm ready
you delicious chilled tomato soup. I love it. But like that, to me, it's like, again, everybody's in these different bubbles and in these echo chambers that I don't know whether or not this is going to move the needle in terms of changing anybody's mind in MAGA. They are gone. Those people are far gone. And I don't think even it's like, well, look, here's where he said this, here's where he said this, he said this, and
we'll say it again. How can anybody be undecided? How can they be? These candidates are diametrically opposed to each other. There's nothing that, he's got a lot of good qualities, but I don't believe the undecided. I think it's very, very low, a very low percentage. What were we going to say, Roosevelt?
Well, I kind of disagree with you guys a little bit because I really don't care whether the MAGA change their mind. It's what you just said, the undecided, because there are, no matter how much we criticize these people that are undecided, there are maybe a small percentage of people that are undecided and independent. So if it didn't go to court, these charges or whatever, I think it's a great thing that it came out there because it made people that are not in tune, that don't marinate in like we do in politics, and it opens their eyes at this late in 30 days.
But I think the big thing about the whole Jack Smith thing, and I hear what you're saying. Yes, absolutely. There are some people who, there are Republicans. We're going to talk about Liz Cheney a little bit later, but there are people who are very high profile Republicans who are coming out in support of Kamala Harris and hoping to find those independents. But when it comes to January 6th, if you have made up your mind that it didn't really happen, or, that he had nothing to do with it, like, that's not going to change based on this thing. Because we all watched it. We watched it unfold right before our very eyes in real time. We saw how they were breaking in. We saw them using the American flag as weapons.
We saw them build gallows.
We saw them build gallows. We saw them break windows. We saw them crash through doors. We saw all of it happen. And for those people who don't think that that was an insurrection, they're not going to change their mind, which is where I think it's on this particular issue. But I agree with you, Roosevelt, that every bit helps to try to chip away at those independent voters, those more people who are, they want to scream patriotism for the GOP. They're the only party who has patriotism, and they can kind of see like, oh wait, no, democracy is more important than voting for this dump truck of a human being. I mean, I think that's what it is. Roosevelt, thank you so much for calling today. Enjoy this beautiful weather, and you can take a look out the window because we're going to take a break. So we're gonna take a little break here, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Welcome back. I'm writer and activist Stacey Anshin. You are listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
Hey, welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff, Ella Miller, rolling along. Look, it is a very close race. I think, I don't know. I mean, I think if anything that we should really be remembering is who answers these phone calls for the polls.
Right.
That's true. There was one time I remember I got a straw poll. Mm-hmm. It came up on my phone as like, straw poll. I'm like, I'll answer it. I'm like, great, I'll do that. But like, I don't think just because I'm like, oh, that's cool. And nobody ever does that. So
yeah, most of the polling questions I get is that it's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Are you going to vote for, it's not an official polling. It's just a way to get money.
But I think we need to,
I know. I don't know who's getting the calls. I haven't talked to a single person I know that's ever got one. So
right. So it's like, just kind of remember like what's going on there. And, and I believe like the Walz Harris campaign is just kind of moving. Oh, yes, Devin's coming.
I actually used to make those poll calls.
What?
I used to, when I was campaigning for Daniel Bisbee governor, I had to make calls like that, ask people if they're registered to vote and who they considered voting for.
Oh,
and then
okay.
we had to report that to, my supervisor, and he'd report to everyone else. The number of times it's just voicemails and no callback.
No callback,
you don't get
nothing.
A lot of people.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's where we kind of have to live right there, because hopefully people can see that this man is using these natural disasters as just a PR and as a tactic in order to scare people into voting for him, and hope people can see that. And I do think people are seeing that. You have this,
I hope so.
You have them talking about how like this will be the last election that you ever have to vote in. That is just like, oh, but and then we also have like events that happened on Thursday of last week. Vice President Kamala Harris and former Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming, who is the most prominent Republican to endorse her campaign. They went to Ripon in central Wisconsin, where meetings in 1854 helped form the Republican Party. Yeah. And you have Liz Cheney, which I would never think to have her on stage with Kamala Harris, with
saying she's going to vote for her.
Saying she's going to vote for her. And she said, I know that she will be a president who will defend the rule of law, and I know that she'll be a president who can inspire all of our children, and if I might say so, especially our little girls, which is great. Also, I still have a point. I understand whenever we when Barbie comes out and whenever there's a strong woman anywhere, like we've got Vice President Kamala Harris, that right there, and inspiring little girls, yes, but it also should inspire little boys
to do the right thing.
But not even to do the right thing, to understand that girls and women are just as cool as as boys are. Everything is so gendered, and so this is what a woman can do, and this is what a man can do. And I think seeing these things is helpful for everybody to see that a strong, powerful, intelligent, funny, and beautiful woman can be president of the United States. So that's my only
I
umbrage
just hope
there.
that Cheney has enough sway with people because, as you know, she was vilified. The MAGA people hate her.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like,
and I just, is she effective? Is she looked at as just a traitor? That's how they like to paint. They paint, Kinzinger with the same brush. The one I was really hoping would come out was George W. Bush. He instead just said he wasn't going to, go for anybody. But man, someone like, you say she's the most prominent. He is the most prominent Republican still alive today. And he's the one that needs to come out. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, he's gone away. I mean, we never hear from Bush.
Well, no,
we never, ever.
He was a puppet, and, he's painting birds now,
which is great. Go paint
good
your
for
birds.
Him. But you need to come out. You know how horrible he was to your father and your mother. He was just disrespectful as ever. And we need George. George, I know you're listening to the show right
George,
now.
Come on,
I know this is your
President
guilty
Bush.
pleasure on Sundays. Will you please come out and endorse Kamala Harris? Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. And also, can you paint me a picture of a titmouse? Let's go to the phones. Claire in Chicago, welcome. You're on Out Chicago.
Oh, hi. Hey, I just wondered, what were your thoughts about the vice presidential debate for both, Walz and Vance?
Mm-hmm.
Did you think Walz did okay? I mean, they were giving lukewarm reviews about his performance.
Right. Well, here's the thing about vice presidential debates. They're never going to swing an election, because it's one of the things. You've got, Couchy Mitch Coucherson over there, who is a really good debater.
He's slick.
Look, he's slick. He's Ivy League. He knows he's a debate team. He knows he's an attorney. He knows how to do that sort of stuff. I thought Walz was. It took a while for him to warm up to everything, the thing about Walz that is so impressive to me is he is able to break down very complicated issues and get it very plain spoken so that everybody can understand these very big concepts in just a plain spoken kind of way. Of course, his best moment was at the very end, which I'm sure everybody had already tuned out, turned off their things when their TVs, when he asked, did Donald Trump lose the election? And JD Vance couldn't answer it.
And I agree that I think J.D. Vance basically had his way with Walz most of it, but that blow at the end was everything. Him getting Vance to not commit to the fact that Joe Biden won the election, to me, was the most important blow, and to me that it ended that way. And
a damning non-answer.
Which
I think the perfect thing.
That's the only thing people are going to remember from the whole debate.
Yeah, I think so. So
that's my opinion. How about you? What did you think, Claire?
Oh, I agree with you. That was the best moment. I hope people were still tuned in. I read some reviews from the Guardian, and they were just saying that he was he was solid, but he could have done better. And I think what was the part where he said he was a knucklehead? That was the sometimes on a knucklehead.
And he didn't answer the Tiananmen Square question either, which I wish he would have just come clean and said, "Look at I had been there. I just kind of projected that I was there during the uprising." But he didn't answer that. That disappointed me. But other than that, it's that last blow I think that people are going to take away. Thank you for calling, Claire.
I don't think.
What were we going to say? What were you going to say? Your last thought?
I was just saying, you're right. I don't think that will really have a big impact on it all. And it is hard to believe this election is close. It just,
I'm with you. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, Claire. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for listening. And we know it's sanity versus whatever that is.
And I'd rather have them keep saying it's really close, because when they said it wasn't during 2016, people felt they could vote for third-party candidates, and Hillary was going to win. So
there we go.
Let's just keep with that mantra that it's close, and we got to get out and vote. Every vote matters.
Well, everybody go we got to take a break. You can go register to vote during this break, and when we come back, it's the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller.
Yes, we are.
On this beautiful day, it is a beautiful day here in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
And we've got a beautiful second hour of the show lined up for you a little bit later on this hour. Girl, I'm so excited. And, we're going to be talking about Randy Rainbow. The one and only.
I love Randy Rainbow.
I love Randy Rainbow.
So awesome.
I remember when he just kind of started really popping up and everything. And he's now 2 books, Emmy nominations.
So talented.
Very,
So
very talented
gifted.
and very hardworking. So we're going to be speaking with him a little bit later on this hour. And also a little bit later, we're going to be speaking with Clayborne Elder. You might know him I'm calling it HBO. I'm calling it HBO.
We're calling it HBO.
He's on
Tough.
He's on the Gilded Age. He's also a big star of Broadway. And he's going to be in Chicago soon. And we're going to be chatting with him very soon. But speaking of Broadway, I went to go see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
I was there opening night.
I was so bummed because this is like the one time I'm like, I want to see this show. And that was the day that I left for Nashville, was the press opening. So they were able to get me in later on. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
It was one of the most thrilling things I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so much fun. The magic that was happening, it was so strangely, uniquely cinematic, yet 100% theatrical, theater magic. We're
Good
talking
description,
like Cookins, like with the little wand fight, with people dressed in black. That's a theater term. The Cookins.
I did not know that.
Yes. It's just that they're dressed in black and they usually manipulate puppets and things to make it look like things are happening. I was just flabbergasted, and I know that I need a cloak in my life because there was so much cloak swooshing.
There was a lot of cloaking.
A lot of cloak swooshing that was going on during it, and it was just incredible. But the thing that I have a problem with is, the whole J.K. Rowling is kind of a
lot of
doo-doo head.
I had some other friends that were there that night. We talked about it a little last week because we had just seen it, that were conflicted about going.
Yep.
And I was saying, the series has been so important to kids for so many years, and a lot of those kids are going to be kids that are, LGBTQ. They're going to be trans kids, and how do they feel about this person that wrote these books that were so important in their lives that doesn't believe in them?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we will talk about art versus the artist
Yes, we
a
shall.
little bit later on the show. But right now, I'm so excited because you may know him again as John Adams from HBO's, I guess Max, The Gilded Age, or you may know him from his turns on The Great White Way. And now you can get to know him as he comes to the Venus Cabaret Theater for the Big Gay Cabaret, October 18th through the 20th. Welcome to the show, the incredibly talented and devilishly handsome Clayborne Elder. Hello, Clay.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Are you laughing at me, Clay?
I'm laughing because that's the best intro. Would you just intro that every day when I wake up?
Look, that
He's
is
a
how
master of intros.
That is how I introduce everybody. Look, because you are incredibly talented and devilishly handsome, Clayborne Elder.
Thank you.
And he's a sucker for both of those things. Let me just tell you that.
How are you?
I am doing very well, thank you, and I am so excited to be out in Chicago with you very soon.
I know. This is kind of like a homecoming because was your first show in Chicago? Was that One Arm at Steppenwolf?
Well, no, you know what? I've actually never performed in Chicago. I did One Arm when it transferred to New York. It was a different production.
Oh,
but, I did it. Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I had it in my brain's eye that's there. You were there at Steppenwolf, and that was the beginning of a spark. Let's get to that a little bit later.
No,
but,
no, this is technically my first time performing in Chicago.
Oh
my goodness!
My
my Chicago debut.
It's about time.
I love it. Fantastic. Let me tell you, and the Venus Cabaret Theater is I love that space. That venue is so wonderful. It's a beautiful, intimate crowd that you'll be pulling in there. So yay. Oh my gosh. For some reason I had it in my brain that you've been here before performing, but
You just wished
y'all,
it.
Chicago, you are in for a treat because again, incredibly talented and devilishly handsome.
So, speaking of a treat, Claiborne, what can we expect when we see you in this cabaret format when you come to town?
Well, I was raised Mormon in Utah, and I'm generally like a nice, gay, ex-Mormon dad of a 7-year-old. But once you get to know me, you figure out that I'm really kind of a dark and twisted person.
Yes.
And so this is going to be a dark and kind of filthy evening of me telling stories and singing songs.
So is this? I know you performed at 54 Below, the famed 54 Below. Is that right, or did I screw that one up too? Or was it Joe's Pub? It's
No.
one.
No, I have. I've done both of them.
Oh, I'm
actually.
sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Fancy Pants. So,
No, but this show, I started this show about 1.5 years ago, and I've been touring it around the country for a while now, just a couple of times a month, but from coast to coast. So I'm very excited to finally get to hit Chicago.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So when you are putting together, I think cabaret is one of the most difficult things to pull off successfully because you have to be, and you are a raconteur. You have to be a gifted storyteller and a gorgeous singer, which of course you are. And when it comes to creating a show for this show, do you have a title for it? What is your process when it's okay, what song is going to go with what story? How do you curate a show like the one that's going to be coming to the Big Gay Cabaret at the Venus Cabaret Theater on Southport?
Well, the show is called "I Want to Be Evil," which is one of the songs that I sing in the show.
I want to be evil.
I
want to spit
exactly that one.
Mm-hmm.
And the story. I do stand up and I do storytelling, and then I also sing, and so this is sort of a perfect combination of those things for me. And that it's sort of half stand up show in that I think there's more talking than a cabaret, and there's more singing than in a stand up show in which there would be none. So it's somewhere across between those two things. And I do sort of tell this, it sort of centers around this one crazy thing that happened to me a few years ago, in which this kind of incredibly strange, bizarre kind of reconnection with a person from my past.
Okay.
And so I know I'm so vague.
I
right?
love it.
But
No,
that's how you're
tease
gonna come
away.
and see
Tease
the vague
away.
story. And so it sort of centers around that and kind of the idea of goodness and what goodness is. And so there's no story, and like a stand-up show, it's sort of thematic in that I'm talking about those sorts of things. But I'm also telling stories about, the Gilded Age and stories about being on Broadway and things like that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous. And speaking of the Gilded Age, congratulations on that, by the way. What a beautiful, fabulous show. I like just the costumes alone. I'm like, nom, 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 nom. Just want to eat it up. So delicious. What has been your biggest surprise working on a show, especially like a period piece like the Gilded Age?
I think that there's only been one other time when I've been on a TV show, and I was on the second season of the Carrie Diaries, which was an experience. And but this is the first time I've been on multiple seasons of a TV show, and what I think I found most fascinating is how, well, at least in this instance, Julian Fellowes really calls us each the steward of our own character, and that we know more about them than he does. And so he loves to listen to ideas and loves to talk about things. And it has been really fun to kind of brainstorm and watch this person I know and love grow over the course of years of the show.
Do you I'm always fascinated because each show and each set is very, very different. Do you have is there any amount of rehearsal time that you have? Because you are a creature of the stage. You've been on Broadway with the revival of Company, Bonnie and Clyde, Sunday in the Park with George. You performed all over this country regionally, and as a theater actor, there's like a big rehearsal process to lead up to this. But what is it like getting prepared for each one of these episodes?
Yeah, that I think when I teach young people, and I frequently get the question, what is the difference between working on stage and working in front of a camera? And it's the same toolbox, but it's just the way you use those tools. And I think that a lot of theater people, when they get started in TV and film, are surprised by how little help they get. Mm-hmm. Because we're used to a director and a process in 3 weeks or 6 weeks and, previews and all these things to get stuff right. But for TV and film, the director is mostly concerned about lights, mostly concerned about movement. They're not always concerned about your performance and what you are portraying. So you have to have done all of that homework by yourself and show up with a performance that is ready. And I think that's difficult for theater people at first because it's a lot of homework. Yeah. It's a lot of working by yourself in your room.
And that's why the best theatrical actors are the best actors on television generally, in my opinion. They have the tools, as you said. I never really thought about the fact they don't get the support that you would get on stage, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Go on, finish your thought.
No. Oh no, I was just going to say, I was working on a film once, and I one of my first jobs ever, and this other actress that I was working with kept showing up with these amazing ideas. And I was like, about the third day of filming, I was like, hey, what do you do? Like, what's your process like? And she was like, well, when I go home, when we're done filming, I go to my hotel room and I set up the hotel room like the set, and I practice by myself for a few more hours. And I was like, wow.
All right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
I was like, gauntlet thrown.
I know.
Yeah, really.
And you will pick that gauntlet right on up and be like, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's do this.
So I want to circle back
a great lesson.
It was. Someone that's really using the method there. I want to circle back to your Mormonism, Clay. How did your ex-Mormonism and your break from the Mormon Church, how has it affected your work?
Well, first off, the first big thing that happened to me when I came out was I got kicked out of college, which was I was going to BYU, the Mormon school, and I got kicked out of college. And that, to me, was such a, a very real-life representation of coming out and affecting my life, my career, my livelihood, what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And it was very difficult for me at that point to say that, I wanted to continue on doing this thing, being an actor, when it felt like everything had been pulled out from under me, everything that I had been planning. And also I just didn't know a lot of people at that time, a lot of Mormon actors weren't really getting degrees and moving to New York to be actors because that was sort of seen as evil. And so when I got kicked out of school and was like, well, what do I want to do? And I decided to move to New York. It was very scary for me and hard. And luckily I have parents who were very supportive, and it was not always easy for them, but they came around pretty quickly to being very supportive. And that has made it much easier. I know that a lot of people whose story of coming out is not as easy as mine was. And but as far as being an actor in New York, I think that one thing that growing up Mormon actually gave me that was very good is they're very hardworking. You're really taught to serve other people and to work a lot and volunteer a lot of your time, and also just a general sense of kindness and a community. And I think that has really benefited me a lot to be, to know what it's like to be a part of a community and to need to support and uplift everybody in that community to make your life better as well.
It's great you could take the positives from it and not dwell in the other things. So kudos to you for doing that. Awesome.
Yeah, well, and it also spills over because you do have continued this philanthropic work because you've been making these, or you started a fund in order to get this accessibility to Broadway shows for folks. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So this is sort of, I mean, I go into detail in this story in my show, but I came to New York when I was in college. Right after I'd been kicked out of school, I came to New York on a visit, and a stranger walked up to me after I'd seen a Broadway show and said, "You looked like you were having the best time at that show." And I was like, "Thanks." And I was in the standing room because it was the only thing I could afford. And he handed me $200 in cash and said, "Here, go buy yourself a ticket to Sweeney Todd tomorrow. It'll change your life."
Wow.
And I took a picture with the guy because I didn't really know what to say, and he walked away. And I did go buy a ticket to Sweeney Todd, and it was a very, informative piece of theater for me. And what happened was when I was in company, I posted that picture I took with that guy 15 years earlier and was reconnected with him through a friend.
I love it.
Who saw the picture and recognized him. And at that time, I decided I was going to give away 2 tickets to Company, which is the show I was in at the time. And it was just after the pandemic, and there were so many artists out of work and so many young people who were moving to New York without any, hope of jobs, or no auditions were happening. Mm-hmm. And so and a lot of people started sending me more money to give more people tickets to Broadway shows who couldn't afford it at the time. And over the course of the next year, we became an official 501c3 nonprofit. It's called City of Strangers. We've given away over 3,000 tickets to Broadway shows. And the tickets aren't free, but are paid for by a stranger who wants to do something nice for somebody else.
Wow. Talk about paying it forward.
I mean, it's been really amazing. We partnered with a bunch of community organizations, giving away tickets to public school teachers in the New York City area, to youth who've experienced homelessness, a lot of whom were LGBT people who were kicked out of their houses when they came out. We've worked with the Performing Arts High School here. So we're giving away tickets to people who really wish they could be in the space, but oftentimes can't afford it.
See,
that's beautiful.
Incredibly talented, devilishly handsome, and incredibly generous and kind and giving. It's. I love that story. It was just one of those wonderful, amazing things. Hey, you do not want to miss the naughty stories, beautiful songs, crazy stand-up of Clayborne Elder. He's going to be at the Venus Cabaret Theater October 18th through the 20th. For tickets, you can go to mercurytheaterchicago.com and click on the Venus Cabaret tab. Hey, Clay, is the fam coming with it all?
The fam is going to come. I'm so excited. Eric's coming with a kid. We're all going to have a Chicago weekend. It's going to be great.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Eric being Eric Rosen, one of the co-founders of About Face Theater right here in Chicago. Theater legend here in the city. And an adorable power couple. And that little beau, so cute.
Yes, I
Can't even deal with how cute
Eric.
that kid is. So if you want to see how cute that kid is, maybe he'll be at the show, but I don't know. It might be dirty. But go see Clayborne Elder. Clayborne Elder, Venus Cabaret Theater. Clay, thank you so much for joining us today. Can't wait to see you when you're in town.
I can't wait to see you too.
Thanks,
fantastic.
Clay.
Well, break all the legs and don't suck.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Take care. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're chatting with Randy Rainbow right on the other side of this. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here and Ellen Miller rolling along.
Yes, we
here.
are rolling.
Listen, you've never seen Clayborne Elder. I can't call him Clayborne because it's Clay Elder.
Yes.
I know him.
I know you.
I know him.
I know you.
He is so incredibly talented.
Sounds like it. Looking at his resume, my God.
And not bad to look at either.
Your favorite combo, talented, good looking, and mine
devilishly
too.
handsome. There
And
we are.
devilishly handsome.
Yeah. And I love that there's like a total Chicago connection of Eric Rosen, who is one of the co-founders of About Face Theater, which we all started. I can't believe 30 years ago. We're entering into our 30th.
At 30, I know, because Kath and I have been in at 29, and we met Eric, I think, right after he started About Face, now that I think of it, because that was our point of, he was at Steppenwolf openings that we were going to.
Yeah, I know he had assisted a lot of people early on in his career.
And we're like, he's got this theater group going, and good for you, and look where he took it. And,
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to one of the other founding members years later.
Yeah, so it's really great that he was able to, like, their love story is adorbs. Like he hired him. He was because Eric left from About Face Theater and went to Kansas City Rep.
Right, I remember.
And Eric became very good friends with Moises Kaufman, who is the guy that's behind the Laramie Project.
Oh,
I think is the thing that's mostly.
I knew that name was familiar.
Yeah, so he brought Moises came in to direct a production of Into the Woods. Moises Kaufman also directed One Arm, which was the show that Clay was in New York, brought him to Kansas City to be in Into the Woods.
And the rest is
history.
the
rest is history. And
I followed them because I've been friends with Eric for years on Facebook, and from their little boy and how cute he is, and when they moved to New York. And so I feel like I knew Clay through, it's the magic of Facebook.
The magic of Facebook and the social medias.
And the social media. It's crazy because I'm sure you have this happen to you, but people come up to me like they know me, and I'm like, hi. And I know you probably don't, but I'm Facebook friends with you. And I post a lot of stuff, and you always feel kind of guilty. Like, but how can you know everybody that if you have a lot of Facebook friends, and then they say, oh yeah, I know your name. But it is amazing how it does bring people together. I mean, I know it's for us old folks now, but I still use it. You use it. Sometimes I see you're on there.
Yeah, well, I'm on also the Instagram and the Threads as well.
I try to use the others, but
This was Facebook was your gateway drug into the social media.
Totally
yeah,
was.
And you're like, I get it. I understand how this works and all this good stuff.
God, it's been, I got on Facebook in 2008 during the Obama campaign, and it's like
it's here to stay, and it's really weird, and it's an odd thing. And actually, I think we all benefit a little bit less of social media, but that's just me.
Did we benefit less?
With a little bit less, yeah.
Yes, I know. But I tell you what, it can be
a big time suck.
When I was hacked, and for 3 weeks during the holiday season, I had no access to my Facebook.
I know you went crazy.
You feel like you are losing contact with, because there are so many friends that you meet in Europe, or musicians, or people you friended that now have 5,000 friends. That you were friended early on. I'm like, I'm never going to have contact with them again. I'm not going to see my pictures, and I can't see people's Christmas trees, and it was like depressing. It was real. You don't realize how much you depend on it as an outlet. So anyway, enough about our little talks about Facebook.
Well, but let me tell you, somebody who's figured out the social medias.
Yes.
Oof, there
really
we are.
figured
Look,
it out.
not only the New York Times bestselling author and adored comedian Randy Rainbow has a few things on his mind, and he wants to talk about in his newest essay collection, Low Hanging Fruit. He's going to be at the Harris Theater for Music and Dance on October 16th to spill the tea, and right now he's going to be spilling the tea right here. Randy Rainbow, welcome back to the show.
Hi, it's me.
Hello.
Hi, Randy. We love having you back on the show. We're big fans.
I'm thrilled to be with you.
And
Likewise.
thank you so much for taking time out. I think you're like en route to something. So thank you.
I talk about complaints. I already complained to the publicist because they put me in a car when I'm on the phone with you, and I'm afraid it's going to be cutting in and out. Don't blame me.
I won't. I'm already blaming the publicist.
You sound perfect right now.
They're butt heads.
Gorgeous.
Right there we are.
They try.
Yeah. So, I like to say that because we had you on the show like 7 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 8,000 years ago. And I want to say that it was probably because of our interview that you just, skyrocketed.
Catapulted.
I mean, you've got Emmy nominations, 2 books, you've got tours. How has your life just changed over the course of the past 10 years?
Well, you did launch me. You can have
It's
that.
true. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's been great. It's been amazing. But, it's like the cliche thing. Like, you get so busy and all this wonderful stuff happens, but you're so busy that you can't even really kind of absorb it and feel it. So I try very hard through my complaining and fetching to, like, really enjoy every moment of it. It's been a crazy, wonderful ride.
Look, and I'm all in for your complaining and kvetching, especially in your new book, Low Hanging Fruit. It's hilarious. I love that you want to reclaim the title of complainer. I love to complain. When everybody says I'm like, how are you doing? No complaints. I'm like, you're not trying hard enough, because you can always find something to complain about.
See, we need to hang out more.
100%. So what was your process going through as you were creating this new collection of essays in Low Hanging Fruit?
Well, I mean, I wrote it while I was on an 8-month tour, a concert tour. I really, they say write where you are, and I was in hell.
Right.
So that's really where the idea of, I was like, this is going to be the most complaining book ever. And I said, you know what, let's just embrace it and let's make it a theme and kind of have fun with it. So I did. Every chapter is sort of its own little homage to a complaint, but in its own sort of pastiche and in its own sort of theatrical, I hope, entertaining way.
Oh.
And I'm as I say, I'm entering my Fran Lebowitz era. It's happening.
All right. Well, there you see. I'm firmly in my Old Man Jenkins era, and I'm in my Get Off My Lawn era right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why it's resonating with me with everything. I'm like, yes, he hates the same things I hate.
Isn't that will bond people?
It will.
It
really does bond people. And in the meantime, so you're touring around the country. You're writing this book. You are still creating these fabulous videos. One just dropped last week, right? With the Taylor Swift Blank Space video. Like again, a tip of the hat to you, Randy Rainbow, for just being able to churn out this content. What do you do to refill the well? Because it sounds like you are on the go.
Well, I mean, luckily, since we started talking 7 years ago, there has not been a shortage of material in the news. Yeah. So I was pretty smart to make the news kind of my gimmick, because it's been an endless well. Horrible for the country, but terrific for my career. Right. I want us to focus on that. So it's really, at this point, I try to just have fun with it, and I'm trying to just bring a little light to the darkness of the headlines as much as possible. But for me, every video is another chance to kind of play dress up and sing a song and do a performance that I probably wouldn't be invited to do in any other kind of mainstream setting. No one's hiring me to be Fanny Bryce, a funny girl, or sing Taylor Swift songs. So I'm doing it myself.
Well, you are so enjoyable. I've had, I watch your videos and then 10 friends will send it to me. I've seen it already, but I'll look at it again because you really touch a lot of people, and you are such a triple threat. I mean, you're a writer, you're a singer, you act. Tell me about your background. I mean, what led you to have such depth in all of these areas?
Oh my God, thank you. I would like you to be my agent.
Okay, I'm available.
We're good.
Good. You know what? I really dabbled in all of those fields my whole life. I never really studied any of them professionally. So I'm just kind of, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I've always just been a fan first and foremost. So I'm kind of just winging it. But I did start on the stage as a kid. Not to plug all my books, but if you pick up a copy of my first memoir, Playing with Myself, I go through the whole kit and caboodle of my stage upcoming.
No one turns a phrase like you do, Randy. And I read that your grandmother was a huge influence on you. Tell us about her.
Yeah. My grandmother was just the funniest, most magical person I knew. She was really a combination of Lucille Ball and Elaine Stritch and B. Arthur.
Oh, perfect.
To name a few. She was just, her comedic timing was everything. And I often say she played a big role in the specific comedy that I'm doing now, because really when I would stay at her house on a Friday night, she'd have the TV on in the background, and she would talk back to it. Like if there were a political interview, say, she would talk back to the TV as though she were conducting the interview. And that's really how I got my rhythm for my humor, and basically I'm just an old lady talking back to her television set.
Perfect training ground. Perfect.
We love a cranky old lady in pink glasses.
That's all Nanny.
No, but for real, you are so freaking busy. What is an idea when you get a day off? What do you do?
A day off. I'm very chill. I like to just sit and have a cocktail. And I'm looking forward, after this tour is over, I will be doing that to the end of the year.
Good for you.
People like to try. I complain about people who travel recreationally. I do it for a living, so I think those people are really demented. I can't imagine that. Everyone's always like, you have some time off, you should go on vacation. I'm like, are you kidding me? My idea of a vacation is sitting at home.
Yeah, people don't realize it, but people that travel for a living, they just want to be home when they're not working. That's absolutely true.
Exactly.
Well, we're very thankful that you are going to be traveling, because you're coming to the Harris Theater for music and dance on October 16th.
I won't be dancing, though.
No, but will there be music, though? Because, I know usually, but it's part of the Chicago Humanities Festival, which is, if you've never been to this experience, it truly is an experience. It's wonderful. It looks like you've got a smarty pants person who's going to be chatting with you.
Moderator, yeah.
Justin Kaufman. Will you be singing as well, or is it just going to be like a good old discussion between the two of you?
I think it's going to be a talk back. I was not invited, frankly, to sing. I tour with my concert show, which is me and a band, and I'm doing my last 2 shows of the year in Palm Desert. I think this is kind of just a getting to know you, and we're going to do like a Q&A, audience participation, and maybe I'll sing a little bit. You never know.
Oh, well.
You better.
You better sing. You better
You have
sing,
a great
girl.
voice.
I know. Just
Thank you.
wonderful, and in a total sick and twisted mind, which
yeah.
I just adore.
I watched The Lawyer and the Con Man. I hadn't seen that one yet. I watched that last night, and it just lapped up every moment of it.
Thank you.
You really know how to put it together.
I'm very proud of that one because I made an Oklahoma deep cut.
Look,
Oklahoma, the musical, like a B-side, Rodgers and Hammerstein B-side of all B-sides.
That is, I beg to differ.
I
beg to differ. I love, the farmer and the cabin should be free. I love that.
I know, but that's because you're a theater person like I am. That's a B-side.
That is, I guess it is a B-side. It is a deep cut. And I've got a bone to pick with you because you do put in some earworms into my head. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I've got Taylor Swift or Oklahoma in my head
You just never
for
know
the
what you're
rest
gonna
of the
get with
day.
Randy. I have to tell you, one of my best friends is listening, and tell him I love him. My friend Janet. She loves you.
Janet. Damn it, Janet. I love you.
Oh, you just made her day. You just made her day. Thank you, Randy.
Well, hey, listen, I want to thank you for keeping all of us sane during all of this insanity. Your work really just brings a smile. It's sharp, it's pointed, it's smart. It's the epitome of satire.
It's correct. It says all the right things in the right way, the left way.
True. And especially during these times, it's really hard sometimes to find the funny during these crazy days.
Yes.
So thank you.
It is. You gotta try.
We need you more than ever right now, Randy.
Thank you. I'm here for you. Come see me in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll come.
I know the book is low-hanging fruit. Make sure you get that. Why don't you go to some of the gay bookstores, like Women and Children First and Unabridged bookstores, and go pick up your copy there. And then you can bask in his glory on October 16th at the Harris Theater. For tickets, you can go to chicagohumanities.org. Randy Rainbow, thanks for joining us today. We can't wait to see you in Chicago on October 16th. Again, pick up the book. It's hilarious.
Thank you,
Thank
Randy.
you, too. Great to talk to you always, and I'll see you soon.
Same here. We'll do it again. Thanks,
Be
Randy.
well. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Drive safely. We have got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'm David Dodd with the Chicago Black Gay Men's Caucus. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Dove here and Ella Miller rolling along.
I love Randy Rainbow.
Who doesn't love
I wish
Randy
I was going to be in
Rainbow?
town. I'm going to be traveling, Randy. I didn't want to tell him I was on vacation because he hates vacations.
Right, I know.
No, I don't. Like I said, my dad was a traveling salesman Monday through Friday every single week. And, my mom came home. All she wanted to do was go out and have dinner somewhere. It's
And
like, are you kidding me?
Look, I just want to stay home after just going to work. I'm like, ugh, I just work down the street. And I'm like, I just need to sit for a little bit. Yeah, it's very exciting. But I'm not going to be saying, here's a shameless plug.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm going to be doing a show.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to be a part of Right Club Chicago. That is at the G-Man Tavern on October 15th.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is my first venture into this land. So it's like writer combatants kind of going against each other.
Fun.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
why
Do
it's
you know who
Right
else is
Club.
going to be on there with you?
Actually, Tanya Richard is going to be on as well.
Wow. I'm going to be leaving that day, but I would love to have seen that.
Yeah. So it's a big Halloween themed kind of show for everybody. It's two different people. It's I'm doing trick, someone's doing treat. I forget who it is. And there's like zombies versus ghosts. I think I forget. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But it's like a live lit show. They performed. The Right Club is all over the place. It's a really fun kind of event. So that's going to be at the G-Man Tavern on Tuesday, October 15th at 7:30.
Right on Clark Street next to Metro. It's a
There
great
you go.
club and a great venue. And my friend Joe Shanahan owns it. And he's constantly putting on things that are, giving back to the community in one way or another. So I'm glad you're going to be a part of it.
Yeah, it is a full-size Angry Bars as opposed to those little tiny little things.
I know. We gave out the full size last year, so now we're on the hook. Everybody's like, "Oh, we were looking forward to your full size."
I know, because you get the extra.
We thought we were going to be out of town, but it turns out we're going to be in town. But anyway, Halloween is fun around here anyway in Chicago.
I know. So I'll be going up against Aziza Robinson.
Okay.
Who I have yet to meet.
I hope they record it, film it, or something. I need to see
I
this.
don't know. We'll see. So. There we are. So again, the show is Right Club, full-size Angry Bars, and it's going to be Tuesday, October 15th at the G-Man Tavern. Just look for it on all the socials, and you can find out a little bit more information. Should be a fun time. Speaking of fun times, so I know we dipped our toe into this earlier. Where we were waiting to get
Henry
Clay
Potter,
on the phone.
the cursed child.
Harry Potter, not Henry.
Did I say Henry?
You just said Henry.
I knew it's Harry.
I know.
I know it's
look,
Harry.
I was feeling for you because the first 20 minutes of that show,
both Kathy and I, what's going on?
What is
here?
happening?
I thought Harry Potter was a kid.
Right. I'm like, okay, if you did not know anything about the Harry Potter world, I'd be like, I could see how Act 1 you're like, what the hell is going on?
You're right.
Yeah, but so I was like,
but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, it is like it really is.
And I did know what was going on by the second act. Yeah, you're exactly correct.
I listened to the show too.
Oh,
You confessed that yesterday, and I'm not giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm not reading you for filth, as you said. I was going to. It was a sympathy moment of going like, I get it, but it really is like it is one of the most. I don't know. There were a lot of little kids.
There
were there.
There were the press night too.
I don't know if I would actually bring little kids to this because there are some like kind of spooky.
Yeah.
It gets really intense, as
does.
like the book series as it progresses, gets a little bit. It gets darker and darker and darker as the kids get older, and now we're talking with full on thing. And they're also not that this is totally kid appropriate, but can we talk about the homo gay stuff?
Yes.
Girl, that is like some homo gayness that's going on in there. I was like,
yes,
okay.
I thought it
Which
right away.
again is why it's so confounding
Yeah, I know.
that J.K. Rowling has become a horrible, horrible, horrible TERF, which is a trans exclusive radical feminist. She says the most horrible thing about particularly trans women. And it's just mind-boggling to me, especially from, with the message, you and Kathy both talked about this, as the message of, the power of like being yourself and of transformation and all these great things, that she just keeps doubling down on it. And it's so hard. I don't know. Do you usually have, sometimes I'm okay separating the art from the artist.
Hard for me.
With
for
everybody,
me.
like
a lot of people that
like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, difficult. Very. I mean, when I learned that they are, sex abusers or something horrible in their lives, I'm like, which to me is the one that really sticks. You beat your wife. You were abusive. It's hard for me to really enjoy them after that. Mm-hmm. It is. I admit that it is. But I have a question about the what I perceived as some gay love going on in there. Was that a J.K. Rowling's? Did that go along with her book, or was that a decision made by the production itself to kind of bring the two characters?
Well, those are two completely because the books end with. They're still in school. They leave Hogwarts and then they do a little flash forward of like here they are and how they got married to like Hermione and Ron ended up getting together, and there's that. So this is a completely different story and a whole new story. I know that there are gay characters that are in the Harry Potter series, like Dumbledore. He was the guy in the beard that would appear in the painting.
I'm just
remember,
because answering the door for Halloween for the last 20 years has gotten me very familiar.
There you go.
Oh, and this is what this character means.
Yeah.
I've seen you knocking on my door.
I get it.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah,
so he is gay. Like that. Like she came out. It's like, yes, Albus Dumbledore is gay.
Okay.
But there's like this really beautiful kind of love story that takes place between two characters. I was like, wait, you're not really shying about this.
Mm-hmm, I know.
But I know that the play is based on a story that she was involved with. She and the playwright. Just the credit for the writing the play was for somebody else. I forgot to bring my script, my playbill with it. But so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But
it was evident though that there was a message.
So, but like a lot of people I know, like I was just talking with some theater friends of mine who also happen to be parents of trans kids, and I'm like, how do you feel about this? And they're like, I don't know. And there's
a lot of confliction because it is so meaningful to so many kids. You don't want to deprive them, but on the same token, you feel bad supporting them.
But half of them aren't kids anymore.
Well, they're not.
They're old. They're all in their 20s right now. It's been a very long time since these books have come out, and they really have made a big impact on people.
That's true.
And talking about the goodness. But they're like, I don't know, and I don't feel good about giving her money. And I'm like, well, look, she's already got a lot of money.
She's got a lot of money. Now you're supporting the local, the theater here in Chicago. But there are kids still reading. I mean, let's face it. There's young kids today that are
reading the books
all over again. So
I don't know. I mean, it's a very sticky wicket, and I don't know.
I know
because I know her words have consequences, but it's different than like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird.
Could you look at it as she brought so many positives that you're willing to overlook?
But not even overlook. I mean, I guess two things can be true.
Yeah.
Like she is a horrible, horrible person.
But
and not even and she she created this beautiful world, like an entire generation of kids reading.
Yeah.
Like it's so I don't know. It is a complex thing, but I cannot recommend it more. It
and
really
you have time
is,
to get there. I think it's here till February.
It's here till February, yeah. But it is one of the most magical things that I have ever seen.
I enjoyed it, and I kept thinking about it. If your mind goes back to a show that you see,
I just
you know
need a
it
cloak.
hit you.
I need a cloak.
You need a cloak.
I got to swoosh. I need to swish every time
How
I leave.
did they do the thing where they changed?
Don't tell.
How did they do that?
There's so much. Don't spoil the magic.
All right, I won't.
Don't
Go
spoil
see
the
it
magic.
for yourselves and get back to us and tell me how you think they did some of those things.
Some things I know how they do, but I was like, okay.
Don't tell me.
But it is just, it really is thrilling.
It is,
and it just does not stop for like the.
No, it went by, and it's a long show, and
it's about 3 hours,
and it didn't seem like it. So that's the telltale thing right there. That it goes
just
by
kinda
so
goes
quickly.
Boom,
yeah,
boom,
very
boom.
quick.
And if you are not familiar with the Harry Potter verse, that's. There we go. But also speaking of art versus the artist and everything. So Netflix has their new installment of Monsters, which is a Ryan Murphy thing. He did, why can't I remember? Dahmer last year, and now they're doing the Menendez brothers. Have you watched any?
I've watched a lot of things Menendez brothers oriented because I have a history of my interest in them, but I did not see this one yet. No.
Okay.
But I know they're not happy with it, from what I heard.
Yeah, I think they're not. But this is, I don't know. So you haven't watched any of it. What is your history with the Menendez brothers?
So when I was years ago, when the Menendez trial was on Court TV, it was like the huge big thing that was on Court TV. I was home with mono. I had mononucleosis, and I was home from work. I was at WXRT. It was in the 80s, 89, I guess, and I watched every day.
The trial. Yeah.
And I became completely obsessed with the trial. And I'd come back to work and I'd say to my coworkers, these guys I understand what happened here. I listened to them and I heard their stories of abuse at the hands of their father. And I saw them cry on the stand. And I heard their emotion. They're just the biggest actors in the world. And it carried it with me this entire time that I feel that they really got a raw deal. I feel that they were honest. It was too detailed. There were other people that corroborated, like an aunt knew that it was just to me that they got railroaded. They got, what's his name? Girardi or whatever, the guy at the time, the district attorney, the attorney, the LA, he just...
Oh, really? I didn't realize. I haven't gotten to that part. I mean, because I didn't follow the case. Jerry was in LA when all this was going down. So,
and I think that was part of it had to do with, they said, they lost the OJ trial and they wanted to make sure that this one stuck. I mean, don't quote me, but they did not let this sexual abuse be on because they got an appeal and they went back. They would not let it be entered as evidence. Which was absolutely wrong, because if you hear about these boys being terrorized by their father from an early age, I can imagine how they would react. And why did they kill their mother? Because she was complicit. Complicit.
Yeah.
And she watched it happen to them. And, I have been just saddened that they have spent all this time in prison. And I hope that they really are getting a chance now to get out, because they have served more than their time. These guys went through hell at the hands of their father. He was a monster, and I believed it. Nobody else seemed to. And and we talked about, and one of the things that's coming up is, if a woman, and this is where the double standard, if two girls said they were abused by their father, they might have believed it. But the fact that it was two boys, they did not, and they didn't, and they wouldn't allow it to be admitted as evidence on the appeal, which is absolutely ridiculous. So. You can tell I'm very passionate about
this.
I really, Eric and Lyle Menendez, they were believable to me, and I understood them. I spent a lot of time watching, and I hope that they finally get a break, because they deserve it.
All right. Well, it's the series is definitely controversial, because a lot of the stuff that they are that Ryan Murphy likes to focus on is a little bit more of like the sexiness, and the salacious details. And they're listening to a lot of stuff like this that's not about the trial. That's like backstory is very salacious and kind of focused on other things. But in that being said, the performances on this show are outstanding. They're really, really good. And there's one episode, like I think you might enjoy watching it. Although it is a lot, because because they show the murders. But
they're mad about it. But he said they should be sending me flowers because it's brought more attention.
I know,
to it. So,
but that's also like,
yeah, I know. Come on, dude.
Brian Murphy. All right. But there is one episode that is literally just it is one shot. It is a single shot, and it is a 33-minute monologue, a 33-minute scene at an investigation table. It is.
I may have to watch it.
What Clay was talking about in terms of like an actor prepares for camera.
Really good.
It was incredible.
Okay.
Just incredible. So take with it what you will.
Yes.
Again, consuming art, it's good, and you can kind of make up your own mind about it. So there we are.
Indeed.
That's our lesson learned today.
That is.
And that is our show for today. I want to thank both of our guests, Randy Rainbow, which is his real name.
It's his real name, folks.
It's so weird.
His dad's Jerry Rainbow.
Randy Rainbow and Claiborne Elder. Devin, thank you so much for running everything over here. Paul, fabulous to see you as always. You knucklehead. Ellen, sending good vibes to you.
Thank you.
Puppies and everything.
Yeah, our dogs trying to get through some issues.
Yeah. And I'm Scott Duff, and until next week, stay proud.
Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Beslaw.
My dog eats dog food now. Bravo. She eats good. She does kibble and she does wet. But everything has to be topped with the farm to pet topping. You just sprinkle it on the top of her food. She comes running.